we believe it's right, and we're asking God and we're calling out to God, show us the way. And he says, this is the way, walk in it. And then you just feel either unseen or like there's never going to be a product that comes out of this toil. He wants to see his children who are called by his name and that who are walking in their identity. God wants to bless us. Hi, this is Jamie in the Etiquette for Dangerous Women podcast. We are in season 3. And I'm out on my trail. The thing that is most on my mind and heart today is remembering how long I have walked this trail. How many times I've gone out and prayed this trail. How many times I've cried this trail, ran this trail with joy, all the different seasons from winter and sludging through snow to beautiful spring days to the time when this little dry riverbed was so full we couldn't cross over in some areas to continue on. And I just went through this really amazing experience with my endurance horse. My sport with my horses is endurance racing, and that would be long distances. So the race that I just did on Friday was at the Biltmore Estate in Asheville, North Carolina, and the race was 55 miles, and it took me 7 hours, 55 minutes. So just under 8 hours was that ride. And so when I talk about racing, it's a race more like a marathon is a race. So we went through that ride, and I have been doing this sport with this horse, with this distance for 10 years now. This race at the Biltmore was the 10th anniversary of my horse entering this sport at this distance. And the whole time I've been doing this, my heart was to find a way to do this sport in a way that honors the horse and takes care of the horse for longevity. So it's a tough sport when you're doing these long distances and you're training for these long distances. And the truth is, it's hard to get through 10, 15 years of doing this. It's just tough to not end up with injuries, as we all know, in high performance sports. So here we are in our 10th season, and I pair that experience with also the things that I wanted for my life, that I want to see things grow and bloom and transform. And I've gone through some pretty dark periods where it didn't look like there was a whole lot of hope going forward for life to be open up in a good way. And it's taken many years of time for the seeds that have been sown, many of them on this very trail, to come alive and to begin bearing fruit and blooming, that there might even be a harvest. And I'm seeing that in a lot of places in my life. As I've seen God working through the times that felt really alone or dark, or that I just couldn't imagine what could come out of all of this. And yet, I'm seeing this beginning of these sproutlings, and I can remember in years past, year 5, year 6, year 3 even, looking at the dark ground and thinking, okay, that's got to be a sproutling. That's like a little piece of fruit that's coming out. And looking back, it's like it was a tiny glimpse, but it really wasn't the start of what I am right now starting to actually see as a little harvest coming out of the ground of change, new direction, and the things that have been planted really starting to not only take deep root, but to start to come up above the surface. So this past weekend, I took my horse on this endurance race, and We finished in the top 5, which for us is phenomenal. My horse is not bred for the sport, so she's not the breed that tends to excel the most. She does pretty well, she's solid, but she's not usually a top 5 horse. So we have finished in a top 5 placing, but then when the awards were given later, we found out that she had actually won the High Vet Scored Award, which is pretty prestigious and really, really big deal for us. And I found out later that it was an even unusually high Vet Scored Award. So that just brought me so much joy. And the thing that it really makes me think as I'm walking up this trail is I have been at this sport hoping to do things in a good way, in a way that the values that I believe in come before sometimes quicker success. And I think there have been people that have not understood what I've been trying to do in the sport and probably in my life. But this past weekend was this surprise glimpse that was like, yes, this investment that you've just kept putting in over 10 years, here is a glimpse that you are on the right track. You are on the right track. And it's going to come out of the ground and we're going to see it come alive. And I suppose the point of this conversation to share with you is to infuse hope into those of you who are walking a long path, who are in this thing, whatever it is, for years, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8 years, right? And to say, sometimes I have felt like we would never see results or an outward sign, and then you start to kind of look for, well, maybe it's just the deep spiritual things, right? Like there's not going to be success on the outside. Like that's the more spiritual way, right? We'll just go with that. But the truth is popping up to say, no, there really is outward signs of success that I think God wants to bless us with, because he wants to see his children who are called by his name and that who are walking in their identity with Christ to have the courage and patience to do that walk, regardless of what it looks like in the short term. And sometimes the short term is like 10 years. But to take these little tiny pieces along the way, and then when the day finally comes, when you're kind of vindicated with an award or that thing that you've been so praying for, like that comes through, whatever it is. It might be a child who's walked away and broken relationship, or it could be relational. It could be work where you're toiling away without really being seen, but you're doing the right thing. There's just so many places in our lives as humans that we work towards an end and we believe it's right, and we're asking God and we're calling out to God, show us the way, and he says, this is the way, walk in it. And then you just feel either unseen, like there's never going to be a product that comes out of this toil that can be understood. And it's not necessarily a need to be seen by the world around us and appreciated. It's the basic proof that what you're doing has meaning in the real world, which it should have meaning in the real world. The things we do in the name of Christ should show at some point a productivity that engages and transforms the world around us. That's what the kingdom's about. And so this award that we earn doesn't make me happy because now finally I'll be seen and accepted by the people and they will think I'm important. It feels much deeper for me that it's like a note from Jesus to say, yes, I've called you to do this. I've walked you in this direction, and I'm in this, and there is fruit for your work. And I'm going to have to look up the Bible verse for that, but it's like there will be fruit for your labor. So that I want to encourage you because I've walked this path many times and thought, why, how long am I going to feel like I'm walking the unseen lands and just doing this thing without really being certain if there will be fruit, if there will be harvest, if it will matter, if it will change lives? I want to just encourage all the people who might be listening today to keep walking that path out and to keep trusting that if God is calling you to a thing, even over years and years, that there will be fruit for your labor. There will be something that transforms and becomes real in the land of the living that we're in today. Because I know that I needed encouragement as I was walking through those years that felt like forever, that I was under the ground, hoping that the roots were being planted, hoping that something was coming out of this, hoping that this wasn't in my imagination and I was on the right track. And I encourage you today to believe that God is walking you through something, and that as long as you seek after him first, that you will see the fruit of your labor in the land of the living. Now, you may not see it in completion. There may be more layers that you get to see later when you're face to face with Christ, and that is a beautiful thing to hope for. But there will be fruit in the land of the living. So keep walking forward in your journey, following Jesus, even when it's hard to see if things are really coming through. Because 10 years later, I'm seeing this actually come through in fruit for me. And now I'm really excited to see, what will God do next? Will the door continue to swing open wider? Or will this just be a kind of a glimpse, and then we'll go back it underground again and keep developing? Whatever the case, long journeys need deep preparation, a lot of development. So trust in him that you're exactly where you need to be and that he is doing the work. So I send you away with that encouragement. Until next time, this is Jamie, and have a great week.